What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ariel and I am the co-founder of Flourish Lashes. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I never talk to you guys about things I've gone through in terms of clients and actual stories that I've actually encountered. So today I'm going to share with you guys one particular story that definitely changed how I dealt with certain situations going forward, and it's just traumatizing, honestly, so let's get into it. Okay, so before I jump into the story, I know a ton of you guys probably have so many crazy lash stories, so many client stories, so leave those in the comments. And also, if you guys need any help at all, we have created a full community for you. This community is gonna have everything you need to become a better lash artist, whether it's skill, whether it's technique, whether it's business knowledge. I know that is the goal of 2024, is to build your business knowledge. So I've created a community and I will leave the link in the description below. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys basically a story, but the story is more so, I don't really talk about this much just because I don't really like to talk about like my old clients and like, you know, things that they've told me and so on and so forth. But this isn't necessarily about the client as it is more so about me and what I learned from the experience. So I will give you guys a story, but I'm also gonna do my makeup. So to give you guys a little bit of background, this is probably 4 years ago, four or 5 years ago. This is like when I was lashing a lot, but I was doing it from my mom's basement. So I was lashing a ton. I had a bunch of clients, and this one particular client I actually got from another client. So she was the cousin of a regular of mine, and she asked me if I would take her, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I actually wasn't taking new clients at the time, but I said because it was her cousin, you know, she really wanted to get it done. I said, sure, why not? So I ended up taking her on as a client, and there's a black thing on my face and I can't get it off. What is that? What is going on? It's just rolling down. Like, it's just rolling down my face.
What is that?
I don't know.
Mascara?
No, I think is it like a part of my beauty blender that just like came off? Anyways, okay.
So.
Like, we're just gonna move on. But yeah, I remember taking her around, I want to say like beginning of December-ish. It was like during the holiday season, but not quite the holiday season yet. So we were definitely getting, I was definitely getting busier as a lash artist. That's fine. So the client comes in, you know, it was all good. When she came, I thought she got dropped off by someone that she knew, so it was all good. I was taking my clients in my mom's basement at the time, so I had gone through the garage and she kind of walked through the garage door. And, you know, very normal, very, very normal stuff that was going on. So then maybe 10 minutes into the session, you know, we went through what she wanted and so on and so forth. And then I felt like something was kind of off, but I just like, I mean, you know, everyone's different. So I just, you know, moved on. But she starts telling me about her life, as most clients do. I mean, at the end of the day, as lash artists, we are basically therapists. And I really was very into that role when I was a lash artist, and I was very invested in my clients, and I like had no problem listening to, you know, the things that they wanted to tell me. And, you know, yeah, it was a good time. So then she starts telling me about her life, starts telling me about her past relationships and so on. Very normal stuff that's happening here. Starts telling me about her kids and whatever. So then she starts telling me about her new boyfriend and how, unfortunately, she was abused in the past and she had vertigo. So at the time, I actually didn't even know what vertigo was, but for those of you who don't know, she basically gets really dizzy. So she had to like get up a few times to take her meds, which was totally fine. So then as we're progressing through this session, the conversation kind of, you know, just starts drifting and going different places. And this is really where things started to take a turn for me. So we start talking, this was in the, like not the middle, but like somewhere in COVID. And she starts talking about, you know, when COVID started and, you know, what happened, and I guess she was ready to play the blame game and she wanted to like point fingers. And she starts telling me, and this is just not what I expected, because like I'm sure if you guys know this too, like when COVID started, there was a lot of racial stuff that was happening when it came to COVID, and I just expected her to go a completely different direction with this. And she was like, you know whose fault it is? And I was like, who? And she's like, it's the brown people. She's like, it's the Indians. And I was like, the Indians? Mind you, I am brown as brown can be, okay? So I was just like, where are you going with this, you know? And then she goes, I don't think I'll ever forget this in my entire life. She goes, the Hindus. It's the Hindus. It's the Hindus' fault. And I was like, I had to like stop and like take a minute and like really think about what she just said. Because I was like, there's so much wrong with what she just said on so many different levels, regardless of the racism part of it, okay? And I was just like, first of all, you came into my house. You have no idea what my background is. you have no clue if I'm Hindu. It's very realistic that I could be Hindu. So like, I don't understand. But anyways, I was like young and naive and I pushed past it or tried to. And I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. Like I just moved on and changed the topic because I was like, I've never encountered something such as this, you know? So then moving on, and she gets a phone call from like her man, right? And I was like, okay. She's like, oh, I have to take this phone call. And I was like, yeah, like, sure, no worries. Do what you gotta do. But she gets up and she like goes, and I was like, oh, you're leaving. Okay. So then she gets up and goes into my garage. And I'm like, okay, so that's fine, I guess. And then 10 minutes later, she comes back. And this is not normal. Like, I don't usually do that. Like, I don't let people just get up and go, but she kind of just went. And I was just like, oh, okay. So then she got up, she left, she came back. And I was like, oh, okay, like, is everything okay? Because she was on the phone for a hot minute. And then I realized she went in the garage to smoke a cigarette. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, again, what am I supposed to do in this moment? Because I am also a young lash artist. I didn't really know much. I didn't really have anyone to guide me. I wasn't really sure what to do in these type of situations. And I kind of just rolled with it. And I was like, oh my God, like you literally just took up 10 minutes of our entire session to go smoke a cigarette. And then I guess she did talk to her boyfriend at some point on the phone. And then she starts telling me how verbally abusive he is to her. And how he called her to like cuss her out. But then she's like, I love you so much. And he's like, where are my goddamn car keys? And starts like cussing her out. And I was just like, this is far too much for me to take on as a lash artist right now. Like I'm just really going through it in this moment, okay? Then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember there being another racial comment, but it wasn't about the Hindus anymore. It was about something else, and I really can't remember what it was, but I just remember there being like 2 racism moments, and I was like at the end, close to the end, and I was like, please, let's just wrap this up so then this person can leave and I can be done with this. So then we're done, okay? We're done. I was ready to get that girl out of my basement as fast as possible. And she has her little Tim Hortons cup just like this, her coffee in it. And she's like, okay, well, do you mind just warming this up for me before I leave? And again, I'm trying to do anything and everything to get this girl out of my house. So I was like, oh my God, okay, yeah, fine. I'll warm it up for you. So I go upstairs to warm it up because obviously my kitchen is upstairs. So I go in the kitchen and I look out the window and I see a car there. And I'm like, where did this car come from? But then I realized it was probably the same car that dropped her off. So I was like, oh, maybe like her boyfriend or whoever came back to pick her up. So then I bring her tea downstairs, hoping she didn't rob me because I was really skeptical in that moment because things were just going all over the place, okay? And then she's like, oh, I'm going to call my cab. And I was like, I think your cab's outside. And she's like, did you call me a cab? And I was like, no, like I did not call you a cab, girl. Like, and she's like, are you sure you didn't call me a cab? And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I really didn't. And then she was like, okay, well then I guess I'll call a cab. And I was like, I guess so. Like, I was so, like, I have never felt so nervous in my life. Cause I was like, this entire scenario felt so unpredictable. Like I didn't know what was coming next. And again, I could not get her out of my house fast enough. Also, I was young, I was naive, and I was very, I guess like timid in a sense. Like I didn't want to like put myself out there and make myself look bad or, you know, make someone else feel bad. So I was just trying to like go about it in the nicest way possible. So then she goes outside and she leaves and that was that. And I kid you not, I had to cancel the rest of my clients because it was like 3 hours. That entire 3 hours of my life was so draining. And I've never really dealt with anybody where their presence has actually sucked the life out of me the way I was sucked the life out. Like it was so soul-sucking. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I literally went upstairs for the rest of the day. I think I was done maybe around like 3-ish because I might have started around 12. And I sat there until like my mom came home at like 6 o'clock. Like I literally sat there until like in silence, just trying to collect my thoughts until 6 p.m. because I just could not bring myself to anything. I don't know like I've never experienced anything like that. And it just goes to show how powerful other people's presence can be in your life. And even though these are clients, like we also need to be very particular about the clients that we let in. And this is something that I obviously learned in that moment and something that I will never take for granted again. I never did take for granted again because after that, my entire family knew I was off. Like I was off for like a couple days. Like it was really bad. It was close to Christmas. I didn't care about Christmas and I'm such a Christmas person. Like I I was just not there. And I literally had to go sage my house. And then I started to feel better. Maybe it was a placebo effect. I don't know. But things started to look up for me. And it took so long for me to feel normal again because it was just so soul sucking. Now, I feel like I literally mentioned like one very specific thing, but I swear this entire encounter was so messed up. And like there was multiple things that were said in this entire session that I think my mind has just mentally blocked out. And that one specific thing is what I recall the most. But I just remember it just going like left very, very quickly. And it was just one thing after the other. But that being said, so she ended up leaving, and, you know, I remember she texted me after, and she was like, oh my God, I love the lashes so much. And at that point, I could care less about the lashes because, like, you just came into my world and just shook things up, and whatever you paid me for the lashes was just not worth it at that point, okay? So then she ended up leaving, and I think it was like close to Christmas or after Christmas now. No, it was during Christmas. She texted me and said, Merry Christmas. And I was so turned off, I just did not respond. And then I realized she was actually trying to get an appointment with me afterwards. And she kept trying to like message me and text me and stuff. And I literally blocked her number. I gave her no rhyme, no reason. I didn't even send her a message saying that I'm no longer accepting clients. I didn't say anything because I was just so scared of like that entire scenario, and I just hated how I felt that I just ran away basically. So I ended up blocking her. And as I mentioned before, she came to me from her cousin. So her cousin was actually a really good client of mine. Cousin was normal, okay? The cousin was great. And that being said, I guess whatever she told her cousin, or maybe like the way I handled the situation, the cousin also ended up stopping. She stopped coming to me, and at that point, I was okay with it. Like I just didn't like it was just not worth it for me, and I was like, I just want to get rid of this entire scenario. Now, when I ended up, you know, not talking to her again, and I didn't end up messaging her back. Now, in retrospect, I probably could have handled the situation a lot better, but it's one of those things that when you start something new, especially when you start taking clients into your home, into your own space, like things can be so scary and things can be so, they can affect you more because they're in your home versus when you're at a salon or you're going to your workplace. So I felt like that was a very big learning lesson for me, and after that, I started to get very, very particular about the people that I actually let into my house. Because the way that affected me and like my family, because even my mom was like, something just feels off. And maybe it was just the way I was feeling, it just might have rubbed off on her, but I just hated that. And knowing that, you know, my niece comes over all the time, my whole family's there. Like just the idea of knowing that somebody's presence can do that to you was so scary, you know? So then, believe it or not, that's actually one of the reasons why I even increased my price point. But it was also very confident building, because once I realized that that was the type of client I didn't want, I started to see the type of client that I did want. And it was someone who valued so much more than just the price point, because it was cheaper at the time too. So I was more likely to get people, not necessarily like that, but more people that didn't really care about the service and didn't really respect the service or value the service as much as someone who was willing to pay a higher price point. Now, that being said, all of this was like a learning lesson. Was it psycho? Absolutely. Was it something I never want to go through again? Absolutely. It's one of those things, like, I've told people about this story, and like, I feel like every time I tell the story, it could not be even close to how it actually was in person and what it felt like in that moment. Because I just remember how defeated I felt. And it had nothing to do with the lashes itself and everything to do with the surrounding of that, you know? So like, was I upset about the lashes? No, because I did a great job. And regardless of the scenario, I did a great job, and I did it quicker because I needed her to get out, you know? It was more so about understanding the people you let into your space and how important that is, and why it's so important to value yourself and value your service and value what you do, because if you don't, other people won't as well. And this is how I went from being a very timid girl, being a very timid lash artist that, you know, kind of let people walk over her, especially when I had clients. I could definitely name a few scenarios where I definitely let people walk over me. But I jumped out of that because I went through really crappy scenarios like this, and I have so many more so many more. If you guys want me to share more, please leave in the comments. I will. But these are the things that build you up. These are the things that build you character. These are the things that actually show you who you want to be in the industry and show you who you want to be as a service provider.
Okay, makeup is slaying on camera.
I feel like the lip does it all.
Does.
It does, right?
It does.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video, honestly. I thought it'd be fun to kind of share this experience with you guys. Again, I haven't been lashing for a good few years now, but I definitely have a ton of stories like this. So I would love to give you guys more tips and how these tips or these experiences have actually helped me get to where I am today, because they have all played a part no matter how tragic the stories have been. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with something new next time. Bye.